Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks on this evening, Saturday, November 29th. I am, as always, Cursed Chords, and tonight I am on my own. I know that I had, in the announcement, said that Pancake was going to be joining me tonight. Unfortunately, he had to bow out earlier this evening, but that's okay. I am no stranger to doing solo commentary, and hopefully the cards will be entertaining enough tonight for all of you. Um, uh, Tonight we have Grand Pause versus Bugle in our lower final of the Invitational. I'll just quickly show what happened to get us here. We're down in the bottom half of the bracket there tonight. The lower bracket has been happening sort of off screen a little bit while we've been covering the upper bracket matches of this tournament on stream. If you want to catch any of them, you can find them in our YouTube. Let me quickly go find that link for you. Not this channel. There it is. Right there, yes. So if you want to find any of the lower bracket matches that got us to this point, with the exception of Smithers versus Jacob Stueck, because Jacob had to bow out for scheduling issues, you can find them all in a playlist over there. Regardless, all of that has led us to this, our lower bracket final, Grand Pause versus Bugle. The winner moving on to face Josh Stueck in the grand final, and the loser finishing in third place for the tournament. These two previously came up against each other, as you can see, in the upper bracket semifinals, up at the top there, and it was probably one of the better matches of the whole tournament. If I were to hazard a guess, it went to 3 games, didn't really drag on quite to the extent that some of our other matches maybe have. They were all pretty exciting games, pretty back and forth, pretty close. Hopefully, we can do the same thing here. Now, these two are starting. Excuse me. This time we are starting with Core, whereas the last time they came up against each other, they started with Adventure. And as is the way of things, let's have a look at the decks. And we'll start with Bugles. Now, if you remember the upper bracket match, that time in the Core matchup, it was Grandpa's playing his Reanimator deck, and Bugle played his Applejack deck. Grandpa's did elect to play Reanimator again, but this time Bugle switched it up, or is switching it up, and he's playing his Thorax list instead, which is perhaps not super surprising because his Applejack list did lose to Reanimator the last time around. So he is hoping that Thorax will do better, and there's reason to believe that may be so. Yellow is one of the better colors traditionally against Reanimator because you have access to Yona. You have access to Yona Friendship or Else, the one that when you confront a problem, you can bounce stuff back to hand. Putting stuff back to hand is the most effective, well, I guess with the exception of banishing stuff, I guess, one of the most effective forms of removal against Reanimator, because they want stuff to end up in their discard pile. They usually don't have the requirements to play stuff from hand unless they're accumulating counters on Student 6. And similarly goes for unsatisfactory work, of course. Thorax does have the disadvantage that he doesn't necessarily have a Pegasus in play. This deck does have a few Pegasi. We've got Kind Pony, Twilight Sparkle and Fluttershy, and Pegasus Royal Guard. All cards you're going to be wanting to play. But Bugle will have to keep an eye on that if he's going to try playing unsatisfactory work. He's got a fair amount of point acceleration. Reanimator can start going pretty quickly if it gets its pieces together. But Yellow can try to go quicker sometimes. And in particular, if Reanimator misses a little bit early, maybe doesn't hit that Orchard Blossom play that it's so fond of doing, then you can get off to a pretty good start. And of Bugle, for what it's worth, boarding out his Sanctuary Constructions, Makes sense. Those are dilemmas. The problem deck from Reanimator is pretty confrontable, and it doesn't run any significantly many troublemakers. Spooky Ruins also not super useful. The Singleton Spike, just a simple choice. Suppose he's going for more impactful plays from hand, I guess, not thinking about moving stuff around too much. Well, I guess Tricorn Luna is something to consider. Friends that rely on moving, probably not so useful. Okay, so switching over to GPs. The key cards for a Reanimator. Oh, actually, wait, no, they did change a little bit this time. As far as Reanimator is concerned, how do I say this? The general strategy is pretty much always been the same. Sometimes it varies up a little bit on exactly which tricorn you want to get off the top. In this case, as I mentioned, Luna is kind of the big number one. There is a fair amount of movement that goes on in a Thorax list, in particular playing Defend the Hive to shift Thorax himself around between problems. And Luna with that 180 tax on all movement, it's a pretty big deal. Also, she is one way of getting Yona down, where you frighten and force your opponent to pay 2 to at least get her back each time. Limestone's a similar manner. Excellent card to use against both Thorax himself and against Yona, and to some extent even Pegasus Royal Guard. When it enters play, you can, well, stop it from multiplying at least, up to some degree. And Golden Parachute is super important because Reanimator is, as I said, so afraid of unsatisfactory work, and Yona needs a way to keep its stuff in play. As is sort of generally the case in Reanimator versus most forms of aggro, a lot comes down to the start. If Reanimator can get a good start going, get one of its super impactful tricorns out to start with, whether that be Luna or Cadence, or Twilight isn't the most impactful in this particular matchup. Pinky probably the worst of them for this matchup. But anyway, yeah, you get one of your good tricorns out, then, well, things suddenly get a lot harder for Bugle. Oh, and hello, Grandpaws. Good to have you in the chat. Heatwave. Yes. I suppose I did miss that one. Thank you very much. Yes. As it is in nearly every matchup, Heatwave is one way to deal with Thorax, either by exhausting him or taking away his abilities. Both work just fine. Or any of the various other super important friends that Thorax plays sometimes. Okay. Let us, and with that said, I think we shall get on with things.
Good luck.
Yep, 2 bank and pass.
Alrighty.
Take 2.
So,
Draw 1.
right off the top, let's take a quick look at the opening hands.
Pretty sure it's
Grandpaws has a Orchard Blossom in his hand, which is always what you want to see.
Is it possible?
He does
Yeah.
not have a rushed makeover or any way to get the extra white wreck, so he's off. He at the moment does not have the turn 3 super good play.
Regardless of whether or not I move Thorax first.
That's fair.
Over on Bugle's side, Bugle needs to confront.
But I think
He's missing.
against
He doesn't
your
have.
specific deck.
Yeah,
there is
either of his kind
no
either of his
reason
kind
not
ponies will work for that.
establish intent here. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's
So
fair. I don't have force of movement, so.
Well, I guess if I'd drawn Pirate Ship. Oh well.
Sure.
I think I'm
Pass turn.
still actually unsure of what Bugle was thinking about of being afraid of on that turn 1, where he was considering not moving.
You know what? I like this better.
Anyway,
Seems good.
GP can maybe
Scarface.
Pretty good.
refresh my memory in the chat there.
Go ahead.
Okay.
The stick is a better play than
Draw.
either of those Fluttershy's. If you was happy to play that. Okay.
Okay.
There's Luna.
Um,
So, how do you do this? As I said, it's
Spend
the
2.
2 white wreck that's the hard part. Discard 2
Discard.
cards, make a orange changeling.
Twi
Easy enough.
and Luna.
Okay.
Make a changeling.
I see. Grandpa's. Thank you. Okay. Turn 2.
Thinking.
I don't see that happen very often, but yeah, it can happen.
I'll make a changeling here.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Orange.
oh, right. Now, yes, you can play Chrysalis
3 for Queen
to
Chrysalis.
create a
Oh. Okay.
Luna.
Banish Twilight.
No, Twilight.
Banish Twilight.
Twilight. Sure. Twilight, because now you are
Scoreface.
boosts
Go
the
for it.
changeling.
1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flips.
I guess he's actually afraid. Yes, with Twilight
Is
out, that
conclusive? It
changeling
was.
is
No,
immune
that's
to
I mean, it
getting
doesn't
kind
matter. It's
ponied.
0 bonus.
It does because chaos exists in your deck.
Right, but what? You mean you wanted to see what the card was?
I am saying, if it's a tie, we need to keep flipping because chaos exists.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versus your.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Hugo just
You're right.
quickly wanted to make sure that even though the face-off didn't mean anything,
Interesting.
ties were important. Yes, and that's a bring out your best, which is a tough call with nothing in play.
I don't know.
You'd
I wasn't
think
prepared for this decision.
Pegasi, the most common friend in his deck. Critter, Changeling, no. I think Pegasus is really the only worthwhile choice.
That is there specifically. Okay.
Mhm.
I will name Pegasus.
Pegasus it is.
Pass turn.
Gain 2. Draw a card.
That's the friends are always there. So Bugle's he's got plays. Those purple cards in his hand are stranded for now, but he's got plays.
Why I was
2
thinking
AT isn't much,
would not be very
so
effective.
probably best to pass here. 4 AT next turn. Well, he's not going to be double confronting with 4 AT anytime soon, but he
pass
can
turn,
like
I guess.
confront and play Bunyip.
Okay.
He's got 4.
2. Draw.
You're right, Grandpa's Mysterious Disappearance was your next draw. Oh, yeah. Chaos. Totally would have mattered. If you are a GP
I
here,
will also pass turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't do anything effective with just 2 AT. All right.
Draw a
So,
card.
4.
Huh.
What you going to do with 4 AT? As stated, move and play Bunyip. Double. That's bring out your best is 7. So even playing 2 kind ponies over there isn't confronting it.
Pay 2. Will kind pony your changeling.
Okay, that will do nothing. My changeling is 4 power.
Right.
Really? I suppose that's true.
Unfortunate mistake there from Bugle.
I suppose that's true.
Worth pointing out, perhaps, that he was sick this week.
Would you like me to put Twilight in front of Stolen Talent?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That wouldn't have done anything.
Potentially just settling into the game. But yeah, an unfortunate mistake there. The idea was good. getting rid of that orange changeling token would at least force Grandpa's to use infiltrating again, get it back.
Pass turn.
Draw.
Okay. Cadence off the top is no more useful than the
Pass
cadence
turn.
he already had. Happy to. Well, I guess at the moment it's looking like GP is going to have to flip his main to get that white to play Orchard Blossom. So yeah, just saving up AT until he's able to do that. And yeah, play it all in one turn. Okay.
Oh, I'm overthinking this. Well,
So
play mistake from last turn was still pretty bad. I really need to flip into not this problem.
yeah, but bouncing Chrysalis is a pretty good play, Prison Light.
Well,
Suppose he can
honestly,
do
I
that
just need you to
now.
not have a turn 3 play. Let's see.
I'm sure Bugle's probably a little bit
Well,
afraid of Heat Wave,
You
as
either
you
got it or you don't.
would be. Yeah, if he says either you got it or you don't, I'm pretty sure he's thinking about Heat Wave. Which GP does have the rec to play because that Changeling's boosted.
Yeah,
But
if you have it, Yona?
I don't know.
Okay, Yona's good.
Yeah, it's like you
Sure.
said.
Scoreface.
Scoreface is good.
Geez, only 2 orange rec.
Confront?
Confront
You'd
is
think
good.
I wasn't looking at the card just this morning.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay.
But yes, that gets rid of Chrysalis, gets rid of Twilight. 7 AT though. Grandpa's presumably flips his main and plays Orchard Blossom. It's 3 to flip, 4 to play. And Orchard Blossom will presumably pull Yona. Sorry, Luna.
Spend
My
3.
brain
Flip
crossed
remain.
up there.
Orchard Blossom.
Okay.
Okay, yep. All right.
Okay, I'll discard the Luna.
Obvious choice.
Which of these identical cards would you like?
The one that requires the least effort to move it on the tabletop.
Oh, I just meant Limestone and Chrissy were basically just more Lunas in this specific case.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
All right.
I will go ahead and
Luna
frighten
frightens
Yona,
Yona, of course.
Okay.
Scoreface.
Yep.
Confront.
Yep.
Counter on the main.
And right.
Flips.
And with Bark still
8
there,
to
there'll be a
7.
face-off. That's
That's not
pretty
right at all.
good.
Next.
Oh,
Okay.
Bugle is very unhappy to flip that purple entry, I
Right,
would
because you're
expect.
up by...
I was up by 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Infiltrating is another infiltrating. Sure.
Another infiltrate.
Okay. And this is where it gets tough. I mean, he's got a Yona in play, but it would cost him 3. It would cost him 7 AT.
At the start of your main phase?
Sure.
Mysterious Disappearance,
Sure.
Cadence, and Golden Parachute.
I'm going to concede. I have nothing.
Okay.
I can't play cards that are relevant.
Okay.
Bugle bows out right there. So that's a little unfortunate. But as we sort of covered, Bugle was having a bit of a rough time that game. His purple wreck was a little bit, well, missing. So not obviously unfortunate whenever someone bows out that quickly, but we move on to game 2. See what we can do there. Give me a moment here. I usually rely on doing this production work while other people are talking. So just swap out these elements here. Alrighty. So, game 2 will be adventure. This will be, in this case, it is an exact rematch of the decks that were played the first time that these two met. That being the Changeling Pretender Cadence combo from Grand Pause and Seleno Yellow Bugle. And if I recall correctly, Bugle said that he sideboarded the exact same way as well. Which, well, this was the video that the game that he won, so that's hardly surprising. And if we remember properly, the way that he won that game was by delaying flipping his main and sort of saving up a lot of points in his hand and scoring a bunch of them all at once. Now, he was able to do that because he was able to play cards without flipping his main, which is usually something that this deck is not so good at. It kind of, to some greater or lesser extent, relies on being able to flip your main early. You can get Cloud Tracer and Flitter, and you can get your yellow entry, like Kind Pony and Professor of Kindness, and maybe you flip a Brian. That's, well, pretty small things. But otherwise, everything else in here requires you to have blue. So I believe we mentioned last time. Last time Bugle managed to do it without finding Cloud Chaser and Flitter, which is great. But they are the card that really would crack the game open for him if he's able to draw it. But he did get there. He did get there last time. So it most certainly can be done. Meanwhile, the Cadence combo deck is the one that I was going to say. The key cards for this one basically never change. I guess I have explained this combo a number of times over the course of the Invitational. So if you watched any of these videos, you probably understand how this thing works. But just in case you don't, I may as well lay it out one more time, in case there's anyone new this time who's never seen it before. You have Cadence in play. You have a Heartfelt Apology active on you. So whenever you whenever you score a point, you get to put a friend with cost 2 or less straight out of your discard pile into play. You have an immediate retire outlet in play, whether that be Sorin or Shoeshine. And then you play Mistmain. Well, you cycle Mistmains the usual way. But every time you play a Mistmain, your Heartfelt Apology point brings an Angel Wings into play, and you can combine Angel Wings and Cadence's discounts to make your Mistmains free. And then, at that point, you just win. You are, optionally able to start off by playing the Vote to block your opponent from interfering with you, or maybe open up with a Soprano to make sure that your opponent has no way to interfere with you. Like, for example, as we saw in what was honestly a pretty electric lower bracket match between Big Cheese and Grand Pause. Well, I suppose the Vote doesn't stop the Chrysalis counter that was sort of displayed in that game, but it is there are immediate speed ways to interact with the combo and prevent it from finishing once it started. In Bugle's case, sort of pretty much as we saw the last time, he's going to have to get there first. Which sometimes the combo deck has a bit of an issue assembling its pieces, and in particular, when you don't flip their main for them, it can be a little bit harder to get the requirements in place to actually play things. Without flipping Changeling Pretender, you kind of need to start with Soprano to get into pink, enough pink and white to play Heartfelt Apology. Never mind to have a target that you can use Rushed Makeover on to get enough rec to play your blue stuff. I guess Soren only requires one. Soren and Angel Wings only require one blue. And I guess you do usually start your main pink, so I suppose you can get them. Anyway. Yeah. So, with Bugle having lost game 1, he needs to win this one, or else it's all over. Well, yes, all over for him in the tournament. So, let's get to it. And this time, we're seeing the mulligans.
Oh.
That's hand number 5. That is literally not keepable.
I didn't even get the chance to see what exactly was Bugle's hand there.
Okay, and I'm not supposed to draw 45.
But
It would have been amusing, though, if you drew 45 and said, man, this hand's not keepable either.
I have no entry.
Okay, so with that one, well, Snow Cloud Chase and Flitter. Fluttershy is playable. It's not enough rec to get to wait. Remember, Unsat's got 3 rec. I'm pretty sure Unsat's got 3 rec. And it's not enough to get a Shoeshine either.
I'm in a mulligan as well.
Okay.
So, not the most optimal mulligan draw from him either. Over on GP side, well, 2 Pinky Senses, a Cadence, a Mistmane of Vote, and a Redeeming
I'm ready
Qualities.
when you are, sir.
It's not. I think he's had better hands this tournament.
3 triggers at the start of the game, or 2 triggers and 1 thing that I don't know what the timing of this is. Which is weird. It's going to be pink for Changeling.
Does start pink. Okay.
And then I'll draw for Royal Breakfast.
Royal Breakfast draw is a Chrysalis. Cadence is as we've seen a number of times with this combo deck, actually. Just getting Cadence into play, which is a necessary first step to do the combo anyway, is a pretty good first step if you can do it in any way. Whether that be with Redeeming Qualities or with Chrysalis, I guess.
Does that work? No. I'm going to take 2 and pass. Go ahead.
Okay. 2. So, as I sort of mentioned, Bugle's going to do everything he can to avoid flipping his main. Because the combo gets a whole lot easier if Changing Pretender flips.
Nope.
And, oh boy.
In that case, we're passing. Go ahead.
Okay.
Such an awkward hand, Bugle. Yep. He's got Professor, but nowhere to go with it.
I'll pitch a Cadence.
Okay.
Pass turn.
Draw 2. Game 2 round.
Yeah. Grandpa's brings up an interesting point.
Flip.
That Tempest is quite possibly used here to flip Changing Pretender back to start side.
White.
Because once that happens, there's no way to get her back.
Where is the?
And it would fix Bugle's rack. But yes, he needs to make sure that, doing so gives BP this one turn where he has the wreck. He has 3 white wreck. So if he's got a Redeeming Qualities in hand, which we know he does, that could very well be a Cadence. and Bugle has no way to get rid of it right now.
Pinky sense.
Okay.
He has the right to play Unsat, but he doesn't have a Pegasus in play, so he can't target Cadence with it.
Redeeming.
Sure.
Let's see.
So yes, it is going to be Cadence.
1 for PFF.
I'll concede.
Okay.
And Bugle with the snap concession, which was honestly a shame. Totally understandable with that hand that he had. I cut it off maybe a little bit early there. They explained after the match that that had basically been Bugle's plan to try to flip the main back, and once GP kind of secured his requirements by sticking that Cadence into play, it was certainly going to be an extremely uphill battle given the hand that he was working with. It was one vaguely useful card and a bunch of nothing, really. So obviously we are deeply saddened that Bugle dropped out of the tournament with those 2 games. But fear not, audience. Those of you looking at your watch and realizing it's only been 32 minutes and maybe 15 of those minutes were spent watching card games. Both of our players tonight were generous enough to play an additional game just for funsies. And so we have a third game. I allowed them to pick whichever decks they thought would be the most fun to play against each other. In this case, they opted for Adventure. Bugle with the same Soleno deck, but Grand Pause playing his other Adventure deck, his Twilight List. So, let me just quickly get those together here. Alrighty. Now, clearly, as this is, I always forget Bugle's deck, aggro combo. I think he even calls it aggro control combo or whatever. But anyway, blue versus blue-yellow versus control deck is going to be a very different story. Same deck you just saw 10 minutes ago, but different sideboard. In this case, find it again here. Yes. Sideboarding out the Night Gliders and the Bryans because, well, point acceleration is less of an issue. It's more about being able to get through the troublemakers, being able to, as I think I've said a few times in matches that we've had over the course of this tournament, this Soleno deck, it's less concerned with getting to 15 points than it is concerned with getting to 10 or 9 or within reach to the point that you can score points in ways that it's very difficult for control decks to interact with, and so you only need to get most of the way there before you can pull it over the line. In a way that the control deck really can't stop you from doing. So the point acceleration less important than the anti-troublemaker tools. In particular, that Spitfire response team that we've seen Bugle board out, I think, in every other match that he's played this deck. Useful against a deck that's playing a lot of troublemakers, which Grand Pause's deck is. Cloud Chaser and Flitter is still the number one, the card that really sort of ties the whole deck together once it gets into play. In this matchup, Bugle's not going to have any qualms about flipping his main over early, so he's going to be fine for his blue rec. But still, probably one of the best cards early for the deck. And in the other corner, P's Twilight List. Right. We saw this, shine, I suppose, most brilliantly in the game against Smithers that he had in the upper bracket. I don't know if I've actually seen him play it in any other match so far. Kind of, yeah. It's I almost want to say been consciously avoided given the experience that we had with it in that game against Smithers. But yeah, orange, purple, white control. The reason for many of the changes to the ban list in Adventure that we talked about this morning on the other Meticulous Talk stream. Dr. Hooves, cover to cover, and Heat Wave. Yeah, all of them. Seeing play in here. The sideboarding choices of Starlight Glimmer makes a whole lot of sense given that there are relatively few friends in this deck and a whole lot of great ones in Bugles. Mysterious Disappearance, as there are no resources of note. Yeah, I mean, it's just a rocket scooter in Bugle stack. So yeah, Mysterious Disappearance is probably more of a hindrance to you than it is a benefit. There's always a chance you flip and get rid of your own motivational speech. And the Singleton Golden Parachute, because does Bugle's deck run any real removal? Look at it again. I guess there's unsatisfactory work. But this control list cares a lot less about that than Reanimator did, because all these friends are eminently playable. You know, yeah, and you know, that's about it. This now this as I said earlier, yeah, you know, we played the first two, and that is the match. Grand Pause will be going on to the grand finals, but this is just a friendly, an exhibition, I suppose you could say. And I hope that you'll find it enjoyable. So, let's get to it.
Go for it. Oh, come on.
I think I'm cursed to play card games today.
Yeah, for those unaware, when they rolled at the
Not your day.
start of the match, Bugle also rolled a 1
Snap
on
mulligan.
the D20, and he rolled 1 there as
If I have a
well.
completely unplayable hand, I'm going to mulligan again.
So
Okay, that's fine.
I must say I have to agree that it sure
I
seemed
can
like
play
Bugle
cards.
was
Okay.
just
That
cursed
doesn't
today.
sound incredibly optimistic.
I could play cards.
But yeah,
Fair
this
enough.
hand that he's looking at here,
Okay.
well, there are playable friends there.
Well,
And given
I
that
will
he's
say this is the best hand I've drawn all day.
okay. I'm naming orange, you're naming yellow. That's fine. 2AT. Reveal my hand.
yeah,
You should
and
keep her mole, by the way.
I kept.
yeah,
Okay.
on GP's side, pretty good looking hand for Twilight. All unique friends, 2 AT gens. Have I seen better hands for control decks in this tournament? Maybe,
Which of those AT
but
gens should I
that's
not
on
bother writing down?
a pretty good angle of things.
It's probably paper twi. It's got to be paper twi.
Okay.
Paper Twi
Okay.
does make sense as the earlier
I can't
play.
see any reason why it wouldn't be.
It like the distinction is whether you care about confronting early or
yeah,
getting the Meticulous and the Prepared.
There we go.
And
Pass.
I think in this matchup, the Meticulous is much more
Draw
useful.
a card. Put it in your hand, I guess.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. That's a fine opening play
if
for
we're
Bugle.
gonna be like that,
Yeah.
No reveal.
why?
Okay.
GP can play them both this time with his extra AT though.
Because I know what my line of play this.
That's fair.
And do that, and then be at 1 and go. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Pass.
Of course, see that Bugle has the other, the second kind pony in his hand, and
So you're gonna love this.
I guess it's the only card he can play right now. Aside from
Another
moving his
one.
main. So
Yeah!
why not?
You can.
There she goes.
Confront for one. Go ahead.
Does give him a confront, too.
One day.
Surely I
now,
won't have all three.
I mean, I hope you have all three and play them now. That'd be fine. Now the question is, do I reveal?
Yeah.
I
Grant-
don't think I reveal.
Yeah. GP mentioned last turn that he didn't reveal because his line of play was certain. A little bit less clear with his AT this time. But let's see. It's not. Oh, it's got the Aramaspi. Okay, no. Well, does still have that AT left if he wants to.
Yep.
Okay, does not play the Aramaspi.
What am I going to do to stop you with 0 AT?
I mean, I guess
Stand still?
Bugle knows that it's
I
in his
don't know,
hand,
some ridiculous's.
so he would know what troublemaker it is.
Oh
Vanish,
god,
vanish,
is this
vanish,
worth
vanish.
it? It's
You have-
funny, but I don't know that it's worth it.
Do you have the third one? Did you
No.
draw the third one?
No.
Bugle thinking about the unsets? I
This
guess.
actually just might be worth it. Okay.
On the two friends.
Unset cover to cover.
Okay.
Unsat fact check.
Okay.
Score phase.
You got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. You go.
I can't
Stalling for time.
possibly imagine that. I'm not revealing, by the way.
Okay.
I cannot possibly imagine that this is worth it because you are spending action tokens and cards to do so, and I am just spending action tokens.
You're also spending more action tokens. What am I going to use my unstats on if not these? And slow you down by 4 AT the next turn.
It's really only 2
Hmm. They both make good points.
but sure.
It's not. This turn, you spent 4 AT and gained 2. Otherwise, you would have just gained 2.
That's fair. Based on the previous board state, you're right. I was referring from the beginning, but yeah, you're right.
Okay.
If you're looking at existing board state carrying over for a turn versus.
Yeah. I think Bugle has a point that there really aren't any better
I
targets
still think that
he's ever going to want to play his
Okay.
unsatisfactory works on.
Can I please, just for a turn? Just one turn. That's all I'm asking.
It's true. And Pause has played
I feel like
three.
that's a reasonable request.
He's played cover to cover 3 times this game and has not got a Meticulous trigger off yet. But looks like this time it's going to stick around.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
But come on, that was funny.
It was funny. I'm laughing. 3 Meticulous.
Those 2 Yonas in Bugle's hand unfortunately aren't going to be super useful this game. I mean, they can hit hooves, they can hit
no reveal.
that photo finish, I guess.
Main
Obviously, Grandpa's isn't going to play her anytime soon.
thing.
Wow, handful of events in the
It was
Troublemaker.
definitely
It's actually not super useful for Grandpa's at the moment. Just pay to draw?
Okay, that's fine.
Nope.
I'll go for a point.
Just pass. Yeah, you don't need to draw anything yet.
Pass.
Gain 3. Draw a card.
Okay, Cloud Chasing
Wow,
Flutter.
they exist. 2 for Philly Racers.
Stop. On the bottom.
Okay.
No, they don't. They are a lie.
What, am I going to not try and play them?
Oh, no, you absolutely are. All I'm saying is turnabout is fair play.
In that case...
So with that...
Pay 1.
That's your points, not your...
Sure is. Pay 1.
Sure.
Bunyip.
Yeah, reasonable.
Score phase.
Score 2?
Thinking.
Or, well, GP has lots of ways to stop that. Bailout or Heat Wave.
I'm going to...
Use first. Heat Wave is the more powerful option, usually. So you
let's,
play the less powerful one while it does the
let's
job.
bail out one of your Fluttershies.
Go ahead.
Discarding.
And discard miss. No,
barrel.
discard barrel through. Okay, sure.
My turn.
Yep.
Okay. Ready. Gain 3. Meticulous.
Finally gets his first Meticulous off.
Sure, that's fine. I'll leave that on top. And once again, not reveal.
Rogar.
Exhaust.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Seems probably useful.
Pay 1 to draw.
Okay.
Cause
Okay.
more action generation. Good.
Play a Troublemaker
Okay.
for 1.
I wonder if
I am
Bugle's able to
shocked
figure
you
out
leave
what
this
that
line to play
is.
Troublemaker, knowing that you had a Troublemaker in your hand turn 1.
Other things on my mind, like getting my dang paper
Yeah.
to stick
You
on.
had 7 AP last turn,
As he
and
said.
you didn't play the Troublemaker.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it.
Why wasn't it worth it?
It wasn't worth it.
I think
I'm
he
gonna pay 1.
knows for sure it's not Aramaspi.
Yeah. Why? Why do you do this? Why are you?
It was a nervous click to deselect something I had selected, and I accidentally clicked discard.
Judge. Opponent's trying to give me additional points. Pay to draw.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, but Bugle definitely knows that's not Aramaspi,
Sure, I'll go 1 more.
based on the fact that Grandpa's
Okay.
didn't play the one that was in his hand
That's interesting enough.
when he clearly had the AT to do it before. Which, well, definitely opens up the door to it
Score
potentially being Grogar.
Yep.
1. Pass.
I concede?
No, that is not how this works.
Oh, come on,
That's
Bugle.
a Grogar.
No,
If that's
it's not.
Grogar, I won't concede.
All right, you can concede.
Well, he did guess it properly.
I'm telling you, I cannot draw hand today.
Okay, so I propose for this stream video that we keep doing like 10-minute exhibition matches where Bugle just draws terrible hand after terrible hand and get all his bad luck for the rest of the year out of the way in one fell swoop. Just nothing but God hands from this point forward.
To be fair, I had a lot of good luck at Continental, so I think I already had my good luck for the year.
It was fairly rough stuff for him all night.
Luck swings both ways. We got to at least balance it out, for the start of 2022. Get you back to neutral at least. Look, how about this? We can just sit here and roll for first a bunch of times, and you can get all the ones out of your
system. Get all the ones out of the way.
And yeah, that brings us to the end of the friendly match as well. Yeah, I'll admit even that game wasn't a whole lot, but it seemed a little ridiculous, honestly, to insist on more. So, admittedly, perhaps not the most riveting losers finals, not the epic struggle of a rematch that we were kind of hoping for, but that is kind of the way it goes sometimes. Luck is a part of the tournament, and Bugle was quite satisfied with his finish as it was. So, with that, as I kind of mentioned at the start, Bugle finishes in third, and our tournament now looks like this. Oh, shoot. Ignore that blue rectangle over on the left side, on the right side of the screen there. I did not notice that when I exported the image. That brings us to a grand finals with Pause and Josh Stueck. We are guaranteed a new winner this year, as Bugle was our last year's winner. Josh has kind of just steamrolled the upper bracket. Honestly, I would say didn't encounter a whole lot of opposition on his way. I was gonna say with the exception of Bugle in the winners finals, but no, not really. Now that I think about it, yeah, it just has been kind of sailing on through, and it'll be up to Grandpa's to give him a give him a solid fight. GP, for what it's worth, has had quite the trip through the tournament. Won his opening round, but then fell to the lower bracket after losing to Bugle. Won against Cheese, won against Smithers, won against Bugle in the losers final, and has battled his way in. As a reminder to those perhaps unfamiliar with the way that double elimination tournaments work, because Josh comes in from the upper bracket, he has not lost a game yet, and thus he is not going to be eliminated if he loses in the grand finals. He basically just imagine it like everyone who starts the double elimination tournament has one extra life. And when you lose for the first time, you lose that extra life, and then you go down to the lower bracket. Josh still has his extra life. So if Grandpa's wins in the grand finals, he just knocks that off, and then the two of them will have to play again to determine who is actually the winner. So what that means is they're going to play the grand finals next week. If Josh wins that, he wins the whole thing. If Grandpa's wins that, then he forces a second grand finals match, which will air the week after that on December 4th. And that one would be for the whole thing, for the whole tournament. Regardless, what that means is that next week, November 27th, will be that first grand finals match between Josh and Grandpa's. That is going to conclude our event for today. If you want to catch up on any of the previous content, any of the lower bracket matches, or any of the other ones that got us to this point, they're all over on YouTube over there. As well will this stream be come Monday. Otherwise, I think that brings us to the end of our time here tonight. Thank you all very much for coming along and watching. I hope that I was able to make it entertaining. And I'll see you all next week. Till then, thanks again for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.